All right, what's up, guys? Again, this is Charles Clark. Here, I'm introducing the Pegasus Shift mindset, philosophy, whatever. I might not keep the Pegasus Shift name. I just like it. I like the idea of Pegasus for some reason. It's the connection between, Pegasus as the horse. Pegasus can go on Earth, but also the wings is able to connect you to the divine realm. And so it's like, how do you bring divine knowledge and bring it into earth and ground it in earthly, like practical means, right? So that's what we're trying to do here, okay? So, but to start, I want to start you off at like, how did I come into this? What was some of the motivating questions that took me down this path? And that is going to take us through to business application. But we got to start though broad scale. We'll start like at the, zoomed out a little bit, okay? And it starts with the idea of something called The Secret. And The Secret is this book and documentary that I became introduced to back when I was like a teenager. I was like 15 or something like that. And I got super into it. The Secret is all about the law of attraction and how do you attract to you the kind of life that you dream of, right? And how do you make your dreams come true through the law of attraction, right? And there were all these different people who'd come on and speak about it and about how do you do these different things, like vision boards and getting a really clear picture of what it is that you want to achieve in your life. And I got super into it, and that took me down these different rabbit holes of like, okay, so how does the law of attraction really work? How do you really apply this to business success? How do you use this to create the life that you want, right? I feel like if you're watching this video, you might have also at some point been introduced to this type of knowledge. You get introduced to Napoleon Hill and Earl Nightingale, Tony Robbins, all these different people who teach you different methods for applying the law of attraction. Tony Robbins might not speak directly about the law of attraction. I haven't listened to him in a while. But Earl Nightingale certainly, Napoleon Hill certainly, and so that's the thing. It's all about the law of attraction. The secret is the law of attraction. So what's the secret of the secret, right? That's what takes us to Attractor Fields. So in my time of research, I got introduced to something called Attractor Fields. And there's this great book, Power versus Force, written by David Hawkins. He talks about this in how attractor fields are really the thing that bring about the organization of life. Life organizes itself around certain attractor fields. And really simple illustration to think in mind for this, is like, and this has always been something that's fascinating to me, is the idea that a space, like a room or a building, can communicate to you how you are supposed to interact with it without saying a thing. That's really interesting to me to think about. And we interact with it all the time that we don't even think about it. But it's pretty profound, to think like when you walk into a classroom and you see all the desks organized, or you see all the chairs organized a certain way, you kind of know, without anybody telling you anything, what's going on. You kind of know how you're supposed to interact. Either you take position at the front of the classroom and you're about to be teaching something, in which case you would already know that. And if you don't know that and you walk into a classroom, there's really the only other thing to do is to sit down in one of the classroom seats to receive the information that's about to be presented to you from whoever is presenting it. If you're not doing one of those two things, you don't belong in that room, right? In your bedroom, you've got a bed out. It's communicating what is meant to be taking place there. You're meant to sleep. You're not meant to, like, eat. Some people like to eat in their bed. That is not recommended. You're supposed to eat in the kitchen, or eat at the dining room table, or eat if you've got one of those like kitchen bar areas. But like my point is that There's a place that's designated for eating. There's a place that's designated for studying. If you go to the library, all the books are there. What do you do when you go to the library? You study. But here's the thing, like, we're taught that. But even if you weren't taught that, you know, when you go, like if you go into an auditorium and all the chairs are organized a certain way, you're supposed to sit in the chair and put your attention forward in a certain way. This is why I think that themed experiences are really fascinating, because you're walking. You know, if you go to Disneyland, you go to Universal Studios, the environment is designed specifically to tell you how to interact with it without anybody telling you how to interact with it. The environment speaks to you. The environment communicates to you. If you think about, like, how does communication work, right? You know, you've got a sender. I'm going a little. This is why I like. This is my outline, but I don't know exactly where I'm going to go. I just know that I need to get this knowledge out of my head, and so here's where we're going. So this is where we're at now. All right. So you've got a sender, right? And the sender has a message in his head he wants to think about, and he has to send that message to. So he's going to send that message to a receiver. And that receiver's head, his awareness, is going to receive the message. Right? So if this is the designer of Disneyland's themed experiences, an Imagineer, and this is the guest walking through, how is that message communicated? And here's the message, right? So if this is the message, sender, receiver, how do you get that message to get to the receiver and be understood by them without necessarily telling them directly, verbally? And there's books on this. They do this. There's a brand new master's program. It looks super interesting at University of Central Florida, covering this exact topic. Not so much about the communication element, but the themed experience. How do you design an intentionally themed experience that works to communicate to people exactly how they're supposed to go interact with an area, so that way they can navigate it successfully? So this concept right there fuels the idea of attractor fields, right? An attractor field is a state of electromagnetic frequency, electromagnetic vibration, that, depending on the rate of frequency, causes the environment to be reflected back as to how people are intended to engage with it, and also how people who maybe not just are intended to engage with it, but are engaging with it. You know, you can tell how much love is put into an environment the moment you walk into it. You can see it, you can feel it. You can feel if that environment has been treated with love, or if it's been treated with disgust, or it hasn't been treated at all. You know, you can see it, you can feel it as soon as you step into the environment, right? So this is something that's reflected in attractor fields, and we're going to talk more about this in another video, because I'm starting to get long-winded. I want to try to keep these videos under 10 minutes, by the way, or like around 10 minutes. So I'm trying to do that. So law of attraction, and your environment, we are attracted to environments that we harmonize with. We are attracted to attractor fields that we harmonize with. And you can tell what state of electromagnetic field, what attractor field you're attracted to and that you're harmonizing with, based on your map, the map of consciousness. The map of consciousness is the tool that David Hawkins designed. Here's another book about it. It's interesting. To map out, to create a scale, an arbitrary scale. The number system 0 to 1,000 is arbitrary. What it represents is the different emotional levels all the way from death or non-life up to avatar state of Jesus Christ. You know, so that's 0 to 1,000, and all the emotional scale in between. And I created this little scale to kind of represent it here. Anywhere from 0 to 200, these are all considered the not supportive of life emotions. You know, these are like shame, apathy, anger, greed, jealousy, rage, pride, etc. And then 200 it marks the emotion of courage, and that's when things start to move up. We start going into courage, acceptance, responsibility, respect, love, joy, etc. Peace, you know, and bliss, up to the avatar state, right? So we will harmonize with different attractor fields based on our state. And our state, like the thing that cues us as to how we're feeling, what our state is at the moment, is reflected in our emotional system. And our emotional system can be measured on the map of consciousness. So all of that, I'm getting long-winded. All of that is like there's some big broad strokes in there, I know. I'm going to go into more depth in the next videos. So tune in. I'm going to explain a bit more as to how the heck does your emotional state affect what attractor field you're harmonizing with, and then therefore like how the law of attraction works in your life, and how does this apply to business? How does all this apply to like creating a career and creating your life how you want? How is this all related? I'm going to talk about it more in the next video. So watch right now.